All right, so let me say hello and welcome everyone. Doug here with LincolnList.com. I want to welcome you back to the daily edition of Stock Market Mutterings, where I always say I'll do my best to take a grope in the murkiness, try to make some sense out of that market back there for you, which can be challenging, and provide you with some quality trade setups that I hope put some money in your pocket. We had a good week doing this last week. We come up with some great things like OKTA, LULU. So those were big winners last week. So we'll see what we can come up with this week. And again, I hope it makes you some money. Now, if you guys need help with your trading, as I always say, every day I'm live streaming now here from my new office. Everything's done live in real time on screen. The scanners are up. The community's up. We're talking about everything from futures, options to stocks. Everything is covered. We got all kinds of traders in there. So go ahead and visit it. Right here's the link if you guys want to learn to help your trading. Now, I want to make a friendly wager with you guys, because what I'm about to show you kind of defines the trading day I have. So I went backpacking again this week. I'm going to just kind of tilt the camera over here. Sorry for that. And I just kind of come home and I dumped everything on the floor, which is the exact same thing I did last week. So I went backpacking last week again too. And I just dumped everything on the floor and I said, I'm going to organize it. Because what I do is I put it all in this yellow container, so that anytime at the spur of the moment a friend calls or somebody wants to go backpacking, I can just reach in there and grab everything I want, or I can throw that in my truck and I'm good to go, right? Everything is there. But last week I threw everything here on the floor and I kept it on the floor for the whole week. Then I just put it back in the backpack, and then I came home last night and I dumped it back on the floor with the intent that I was going to reorganize this. So today's Monday. I'm going to try to do it today. Do you think I might actually get to that for the rest of the week? So like, you guys ever do that? You go on a vacation or something and then you just come home and you toss your suitcase on the floor and it's there until the suitcase is finally empty, like weeks later. Maybe you don't do that, but I do that all the time. That defines my day. It was sloppy, really sloppy for me. And I'm going to talk about it. So let me get you off of the selfie stick here for a second. And we had a historical day with this whole oil thing, like trading below zero. Can you believe it? Man. And I've been doing this, like I said, 23 years, guys. 22 years, actually. What's a year or two, right? It all gets lost in the mix. I've been doing this like 22 years. I've never seen like oil at zero. Man, this is some crazy times. Crazy times we're living in, isn't it? One thing that's good about stock, I don't know if it's good about stock market trading. Maybe I should use a better lingo. One thing, stock market trading isn't boring. You trade, you decide to trade, you will learn something. Either you'll learn something good or something bad, or you're going to learn them both, right? Unbelievable. It's greatest show on earth sometimes. So let me just kind of give you a brief synopsis of the day when I said sloppy. I never really got anything going on. It wasn't a bad day. I lost a couple of $100. I took one, let's say, for lack of a better word, sizable. Sizable compared to the wins that I have. And that was on my buddy LULU. It just didn't work out for me today. And so I had 4 trades, 3 wins, 1 losses, but the 3 wins were not enough to make back that 1 loss, because I just couldn't get any real win. That's what it was. I just couldn't get a hold of anything today. Because one of the things I don't like, obviously, is gap up. So the stuff that I was looking at in pre-market with things like ROKU was one we were talking about early. BABA we were talking about early. WDay, they just sort of took off. Like, they just took off and did the old ramp and camp. If you guys don't know what that is, it's just when a stock just shoots straight up and it just goes sideways. Like, nobody's selling, just ramp and camp. And that's what it did. And I don't dig that. That doesn't mean it doesn't work for some people, but I just don't roll like that. And yeah, it was what it was, you know. And I thought maybe late in the day we were going to see a grind up, and then this whole oil thing started taking a hold of the market, and man, it was lights out for that thing. It started rolling over pretty good. So I picked up like a late day SPY trade for a few bucks. What else did I get here? I have it right down here. WDay, I did pick up for a couple on DOCU. I went back to the well on DOCU. But let me talk about this LULU, because I've been mentioning idea, execution, and management to all you guys out there, which I think this is the core of trading altogether. And that is, you have to have all 3 of these to do this right. You know what I'm saying? Let me fix this camera. It bugs me when it's a little crooked. You have to have all 3 of those. So you can have a really good idea, but you could screw it up. And I think we've all been guilty of that. Having a really good idea, you knew something was going to happen, and you just blew it, right? And sometimes you had money and you gave money back because you didn't take it. So it's all about that idea, execution, and management. And it always comes down to managing being the number one thing that makes and breaks a trader. So when this thing was rolling over, the idea was there to pick it up. Once I saw Lulu going red, I'm like, I got a bull list. I got ROKU, I've got Nvidia, I've got Okta, TTD, Roku. All these names are on my list. Lulu's on my list. So if you get a flush or a sell-off in the morning, I want to buy it. And that was the idea. The next part of this was execution, and I rushed the execution a little bit, and that was my fault. Because I went in here on the first piece of support, which was really just cheesy support, was the breakout on Friday. It was this triple top breakout on Friday, roughly at about 219s and some change. Then it just starts dumping, and it starts getting aggressive. And when I'm looking at this in real time, like when you're looking at a chart sometimes back testing and back looking at charts 2020 and sometimes makes you feel dumb, doesn't it? I look at it, but in real time, this thing is just, it's trending up, and then it just gets wiped out, and it trends up, and it just gets wiped out. I'm like, man, this thing just isn't acting right. It's funky. And then I just said, you know what? I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I don't want to lose any more money. And I got out of it. Now, when I looked at it after I did that, I was like, well, I got out of it pretty close to the low here, where there was some decent support. I should have just given it 50, 60 more cents, So there's like a good and bad to this trade. The bad was I should have just held on to it and probably put a little bit more on with a tighter stop. But then it bounces back so fast, I don't even get back in. I'm like, well, I missed it. Maybe it'll flag here and I'll get another shot. And it never really got back up there. So that piece that I was looking to add and pick up, it happened so quickly, and then the one thing leads to another, and the trade, it's ruined. Now, it wasn't a huge loss. It's, like I said, I only ended up losing a couple $100 on the day. It's nothing. I'll make it back. But I could have done a better job. And when I look back at things like that, those are the trades that frustrate me the most, because I know I could have done better with it. Sometimes you look at something and what you want to do is you want to look back and go, I wouldn't do anything differently. I'd take that trade 10 times. Even if it was a loser, if I saw it 10 times, I'd take it all 10 times. But that's the way that one kind of went there. So, and it never really made it back up to my entry until they're late. It just pushed its head there through. But it was just a terrible trade. There's nothing I can really say about it. I did a bad job on it. The rest of them were okay. So let's kind of think about tomorrow. I'm not sure. I'm not an oil trader, and I've never seen oil go below zero on the futures like that. Nor do I think anybody trading has seen anything like that. So it's unknown as to what might be the ramifications here. I know the market sold off, but sometimes that's how it happens. It sells first, asks questions later. I'm not sure how this is going to translate into tomorrow or what it's going to do. That's not my arena. They're just going to have to let it settle in, let it digest overnight, what the economical impact of this might be or what the impact of this might be on the market. But it was certainly the story. And when you're seeing it go down several, 100%, more than, I don't even know the exact numbers, just insane. I mean, my social media feeds were just cluttered up with oil, and I'm like, okay, well, it's a day of oil, is it not? But let's just see how it works. So you can use your regular supports and resistance here on the markets. Like I said earlier last week, as long as the SPY is maintaining a 269 going forward, we're maintaining above 269. I'm still going to consider that the overall themes of the market is still bullish, and we're still in this upcycle with the Fed, with the QE cutting interest rates. Sure, there's going to be up days and down days, pullbacks here and there. But if you're making the case of arguments of re-entering bear markets or extended bear markets, if we get under 269, then maybe we'll start talking about that. But for right now, in the short term, that's the way it is. And still the benefit is to the long side versus the short side right now here on selective names, and especially tech. So we'll see how we go forward. I'll give you a couple of stocks I want to look at here again for tomorrow. I'll go both long and both short on them. I'm still into this W day over here. And it held up really well. I mean, it was breaking out there, and then when the oil thing came along, it dropped. But compared to everyone else, this thing losing $3 after where it's come over the last couple of weeks, coming from 120 to 150, that's still bullish to me. It was just like we said Lulu last week. You can see the tape. You can see how people buy the dips. You can see how aggressive volume comes in at certain inflection points. You can see that it just keeps shrugging off whatever news is coming this way, and it's just still forcing the issue of higher prices, just like what we saw with BABA last week, just like we saw with Lulu. And you got up here, it would have been nice to see it close above this resistance point which is 152.61. But as I'm doing this, it's at 150.90. It's not that far off of that. So keep that in mind tomorrow. If we shrug off this news, market's somewhat stable, doesn't limit down, doesn't get super aggressive or ugly or dirty, or this thing just holds up on its own and goes through 152s, 153s, I would expect a strong day from this thing, moving it closer to the 160s over the course of this week. So there'll be plenty of trades within that. I like that one. Now, I haven't been doing much shorting because the market turned viciously bullish there on us, but I might consider something like a Wayfair, especially when you see a move like you did today where it just kind of just grinds and grinds and grinds. It's like this is really unsustainable all day long in this kind of rhythm, this kind of pace, this kind of speed. And you know there's a short in there. You know it's not going to hold, but always the $1 million question, right, is can you time it right? Can you get in the right spot and not get steamrolled and get too early? Because you get too early on a short, something like this, you can get really hurt. But I might look at this. If there's a setup to be had, you're coming up really close to resistances here at 103.50. I think tops is maybe short terms 104, 108 on this. I mean 105, 108 on this. I think it would need a rest there. I'm not saying it's going bankrupt, going to go to zero. We're going through a recession with it, but I would say that you're probably going to get a pullback in there. It might be worth a short. Let's just say maybe we'll look at it. I keep bringing up Okta. It's got to be one of the strongest damn stocks I think I see right now, next to Shop, which I really don't even want to mess with Shop. I've had a bad history with Shopee, so I'm not going there. But look, I mean, you know, you're sitting up here, got a quadruple top 5-minute chart practically. I mean, this is a hell of a look on this thing, and it's got room to 160. 170. I mean, it's just, again, not phased at all. Now, it's definitely getting a little stretched here on the daily because I think you're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 straight green days. You got to be careful about that. And when I say be careful, it's like, you know, it's bullish. You see it's strong. You see dips get accumulated. It's still a buy, especially for a day trade, not for an overnight trade. I don't think this is a good swing trade just right here at this point. At this, you've already missed too much of it to make it an investment or a swing trade. But what I would say, be careful is if you start seeing sell-off or you start seeing aggressive selling, you can't take that lightly. It's one thing to see aggressive selling on a stock that's just kind of gone flat or in a tight pattern. It's another thing when something's up so much and then starts to shake down because there's probably a lot of bag holders in there. And that's when bad things can happen. So I still want to watch this one on dips, just kind of like I had the Lulu idea. I just screwed it up. And can you believe it? I can't believe I'm going to bring up Shaq. Shaq is like, look at this stock lining up here on the daily. You got a multi-time frame breakout right here in the works, going through 48. You probably have to size in a little bit because I don't think you're going to get big dollars on something like this. Maybe $2, $3. It's not a big ranger like Netflix, obviously, but something to watch. So just kind of a brief view. I'm still leaning bullish. That can change tomorrow. You know, for sure it could change tomorrow once this is digested a little bit. If we limit down or something, you know, or I change my mind. I learn more about oil trading and the stuff on it. You think I was 2 decades of this stuff I would know? And I'm like, no, there's things you never know. You'll be doing this your whole life. There's things you just, oh, that's the first I've ever seen that. So we'll see how it plays out. You know, honestly, shooting straight with you guys, I don't know. I don't know what this means. I don't think anybody else knows either. If you've never seen it before, how do we really know what the market's going to react to it? Are we going to panic off of it? Is it going to be like sell now, ask questions later? People are scratching their heads tonight trying to figure it out, trying to get ahead of the curve. I don't know. I really don't know. We're just going to have to see. So if we get negative, I want to look at things like Wayfair. I want to look at some of these stocks that's been up a whole lot, ROKUs or something like that. Get good risk to reward areas for shorts. Not haphazardly short them just because they're up a lot, but find some good spots. If you can get a good risk to reward set, then go ahead and take it. Go ahead and take it and use the stop and respect that. You'll be all right shorting stocks. They always say on social media, shorts get steamrolled. You know what? You don't get steamrolled if you use a stop. There's no bad trade. There's no bad trade if you use a stop. Remember that. There is no bad trade if you use a stop. Yeah? Protect yourself. So anyway, let's leave it at that. Any flushes out? I still like these big names. Even if they go down, I don't think they're going to go down aggressively, consistently, and violently at this point. But anything can change because it's stock market trading. And if I can wake up to negative oil after 22 years of trading, then Maybe we go back to the lows tomorrow. Who doesn't? Anyway, thanks a lot for watching these market mutterings. I hope you guys like them. Leave your comments down there. If you want me to mention stocks, talk about stocks, you've got ideas, you guys can just send me an email, support@thelincolnlist.com. You don't have to be a member. I sit around here in this office recording videos, looking at stocks all night by myself anyway. Send them over. So as always, you need some help, reach out to me, support@thelincolnlist. Thanks for your support. Thanks for watching this. Until tomorrow, trade them well.